It's great to be here, man. It's great to be a part of the Warwick family. Yeah, Veritas, the album is called Truth. You know what I mean? That is what Veritas said. I think it's Latin for truth. There's a lot of intertwined stuff in the record. I just think we always encourage people. We always encourage people to think. You know what I mean? We don't like to spell out everything, but everything is pretty much spelled out in our lyrics, I think. And if you listen to P.O.D's lyrics, it causes people to, have critical thought, kind of. But all of our lyrics and everything that we read is all spiritually driven, spiritually based. And Sonny is an amazing lyricist when it comes to that. And it's very, I wouldn't say it's tricky, but he has little, not puzzles, but he does a play on words that I really think is interesting for people just to like, what is Sonny talking about? And if you really listen to what he's talking about, you're like, wow. It was really crafty how he worded it, but it's all spiritual, it's all God-based, which I think is awesome. Yeah, I honestly think that's a good question. I honestly think one of the most spiritual things that you could ever do is music. And I think it's the best connection you could have, or the best way that you can have a connection with people on a spiritual level is music. A lot of people don't necessarily see it like that. I see it like that. I think music has the ability to bring people together from a lot of different areas, a lot of different walks of life. And I think you can have a spiritual connection with music in a way you could never have it anything in life. It's almost like, enjoying a waterfall or something like that, or even just, it's very natural. It's hard to explain and put it into words, but our faith and our music is intertwined with each other. And I think if it's done right and you allow the Holy Spirit to come into your body and manifest itself through your music and through your art, I think there's nothing more beautiful than that. So to answer your question, yes, 100%. Sonny did most of the lyrics and stuff. You got to understand this record was, my contribution to it was a little weird because this record was written over COVID. And in the United States, there were certain times that we couldn't get together. I didn't see the guys for 18 months. So I live in Nashville now. I don't live in San Diego anymore. And I moved from San Diego in 2018. We used to always get together and play. This was very different. So Sonny and Marcos would go up to Los Angeles and write, or they would, get together. Marcos would write guitar riffs and he would send me stuff. And the album was pretty much over 2 years, already had all the music there. The bass hadn't been laid down. So over that process, they sent it to me, and I would lay my bass down just to get an idea. And then when COVID lifted, pretty much, I flew out to San Diego after not seeing the guys for 18 months and laid down bass. Just kind of listen to the music, then we go over and, make some changes and stuff like that. But it was definitely a different writing process than we normally do. Normally, me and Marcos get together in my studio or in a studio in our rehearsal studio and just start laying down riffs. But that didn't happen like that this time. So it was a very weird process this time. But I'm really happy with this record. Veritas is a great record. I think it's getting received really well. It's heavy. It reminds me more of old P.O.D. The style of it. So yeah, I think so, man. I like for it to be that. I mean, we're always about positive, uplifting music. We've always been that way. I mean, we have enough garbage going on in our lives as it is, and we always like to, be a light in a dark place, so to speak, musically. And I think it's really important, to put that out into the world. You know what I mean? Musically, we were experimenting with a lot of stuff. That's the thing about P.O.D. We've never been just a metal band. We've been everything from punk to rock to funk to reggae to jazz to everything. So over the years, we've always tried to push the boundaries and change it up a little bit, but really we just wanted to get back to just a rockin' record. And that's what I think we did on this record, Veritas. When I write bass lines, a lot of times I'm listening to what the kick drum, the kick is doing, and I'm listening to what's happening melodically with my guitar player. Because I'm from a jazz background, I know bass is such an important instrument. I can change the root note of what he's playing and it kind of changes the vibe of his note. So I have a different approach with laying bass down to music. So I'm listening to 3 different things. I'm listening to what the kick drummer's doing. I'm listening to what Marcus is playing on guitar. And actually it's 2 things. And then, based on that, I could change what a note, maybe a root note or do a third or something like that. It could change his vibe sometimes. And I'm a jazz bass player, so I don't always like to stick to just playing a root note. I may play something a little bit different. And it's not what you play necessarily, it's how you play it. So it's like, passing notes in and out of stuff and back into the note and everything else. It makes a difference, man. I just think my approach is, like so I was telling you, I think of bass as also a rhythm instrument or percussion instrument along with being a melodic instrument. So percussion-wise, I'm on top of the kick drum sometimes on certain areas, and then certain areas I'm not, and I'm where the melody of the guitar is at. So I like the approach from that, and this just keeps bass musical. I mean, it can be boring just to dun gun 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 gun, and the Warwick sounds so good. I mean, they kind of need to be heard anyway. So it's like I think that's when I do my mix and when I mix on stage, I like a lot of note, but I like to have low end too. And the Warwicks are really good at giving me that note, and it's hard to get in some basses, especially in a heavy band. We play really heavy, and those notes can get sucked up by the guitar sometimes if you're not careful. So. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we try to, and a lot of times the guys tell me I have to calm down. I normally add a lot, and then we pull back. Because I'm a jazz player, I have a tendency to want to play notes. And sometimes I may change to make the chord, Marcus's chord sound a little bit too dissonant, or it's too jazzy sounding. So I have to change it. But I like to throw everything at it and then peel back what I want, what works best for the song. And I'm a song guy more than I am a bass player. I mean, a lot of people are really into bass players are really technical and they play all this really fast stuff. That's not really me. I'm very song driven. And the bass has a very special place in music. It can be boring. It really can if you want it to be, or it can be really musical if you want it to be too. And I think that's just where I'm at, as a writer, especially with this band. And we do everything from reggae to punk rock to like heavy metal to funk, or jazz. So I need a bass that can do that, and the Warwicks do that really well. I like to not overthink music. I think music is one of those things that really just happens naturally. If you think about it too much, sometimes you can strangle a baby in the crib, so to speak. And bass is a very simple instrument, man. It's really not that complex. And some people try so hard to add so much into music with bass that I think it destroys the song. So I only put things in music where it's needed, and if it's not needed, I don't. If I don't need to play anything, I'll lay out. But if I do need to play something, I feel like something needs to go there, I think it needs to go there. But it's never for the purpose of satisfying me. It's what's right for the song. Life is short, man. I mean, it's like, the one thing that I've learned in my years of playing with P.O.D. is the most important thing you have in this day and age is time. That's the one thing you can't get back. You can't get time back. I've missed a lot of birthdays and anniversaries and time with friends and everything else. And I think that, I've learned to enjoy the moment, being on tour, being able to do what we do for so many years, for 30 years playing in P.O.D. and still being able to come out and play, in Europe is amazing, in Germany. So and in like 6th grade, I started playing saxophone. And I played saxophone all the way up until I graduated from high school. So I was about 8 years. Saxophone, I could read and write music. And in between that, I started playing drums. So I don't know if you know what drum and bugle corps is, DCI. In America, they have this thing, it's called the Music Olympics, but basically you march. It's bugles and percussion. It's real precision. So I played the drum and bugle corps, which kind of gave me a really good fundamental of percussion, I think. And then saxophone gave me a really good fundamental for melody. And then my junior year, I started playing bass guitar. And that's where the bass guitar journey for me started. I fell in love with playing bass. And I was going to learn how to play by reading music. But the guy who taught me how to play bass said, hey, man, you don't even learn how to read. Bass guitar is here. He said, you already know how to read all that other stuff. So, it's feel. So that's kind of my journey and where I started at with bass guitar. And I've really got technical into it as much as I've always been a listener. I'm always listening to what my drummer's playing, what Marcus is playing, what's happening vocally. And how do I fit bass in here and make it interesting? And that's kind of where my journey, and it's kind of quick, but I started out with this band. I'm a funk jazz bass player. When I got with P.O.D., I never played rock music before. So the bass I was using was a Music Man. And Marcos, my guitar player, detuned down to C to write some songs when we went to studio. And when I tried to do that on the Music Man, it's an older Music Man too, pre-Ernie Ball. It just didn't hold the low string that well. So we got signed to Atlantic Records. They gave us a $5,000 for a equipment bonus per member. So I went to Guitar Center, and hanging on the wall was a bolt-on thumb bass. And I played all the other basses, and every bass I would pull off the wall, I'd pull it off the wall, and I would detune it and see how it sounded. And normally, if a bass sounds good without it plugged in and you could hear it resonate, you know that it's going to sound good. So I grabbed about 4 other basses, and I saw the thumb bass up there. I grabbed it off the wall, detuned it down, and it sounded really good. I plugged it in, and that was it. And I'd been hooked ever since. I bought that bass in 1998. And I've been playing Warwick ever since, and it's probably one of the best basses to me when it comes to detuning, because I think it's just because the wood's so dense. You know what I mean? The basses are heavy, but I think that adds to its tone too. So they do, but I mean, you gotta, I'm a tone guy, so to me it's all about basses that sound like wood, and they say Warwick basses sound like what's the sound of wood. 100%, that's exactly what they all sound like. They sound like the sound of wood, and they all have their own unique flavors, but the basses I have are all special, man. I think it's just the way the basses are built. They just hold detuning really, really well. Better than most basses that I've played. I think it could be the exotic woods. I mean, I think that basses are like Avango, Wenge, and I think it's something else that's on the other one I have. It's just a bunch of different woods, and for some reason it just works, man. And one of the basses I have sounds so good. I'm convinced that 200 years ago, a bear peed on a tree. They cut that tree down and dried that wood out on that particular bass, and it sounds better than any bass. I use it in the studio all the time, and that's the thumb bass 4-string. It's been on countless records. And literally, people have asked me to take that bass, and I've sent it to Howard Benson to use with other bands in LA, because he likes the way that bass sounds so much. So. And that bass never leaves the studio for me. Like it'll never leave my house again because it sounds that good. And the bass I have now is the same way. It's getting much needed repair. Like I said, I've been playing it. I got it in 2000, and I play it all the time. So it's never had any love. I've never put it in the shop and let somebody go over it and clean everything up. So it needed it. So, and my relationship with Warwick has been beautiful over the last years. I mean, I've never gotten here to actually go to the factory, and it's cool to be here. I wish I would have been able to go to the factory, but I just haven't been able to, So, me and my guitar player have we have a agreement with each other. He holds down the mid range, and I hold down all the low end. The one thing that's really interesting about the Warwicks is they seem to do that really well. They're punchy, definitely punchy, and they're just like the low. It's very round sounding. I've noticed for many years, man. Like it seems like the older the basses get, the better they sound. They seem to age like a wine, if you could say it like that. And I kind of look at bass as a rhythm instrument or percussion instrument as well as a bass, so a melodic instrument. So I think the marriage between me and the drummer, the kick drum, is very important for us. So my guitar, I leave a scooped out space for my guitar player to fit, but when the bass drops out, you know that it's gone, because I'm holding down all that low stuff and all the low mids and stuff like that. So I think the Warwicks do that better than most basses that I've listened to. It's a roundness it has. I can't explain it. I've played a lot of other basses, but the Warwick just sounds, it has a special tone to it that's very Warwick. And no other bass sounds like it. No other bass sounds like it. Yeah, those are the original MDCs that are in it. I do have the Dolphin that I use. It has the EMG pickups in it, and it's got the BQC system. So it's got the mid sweep and the bass and treble and stuff like that. But it's a more aggressive sounding bass. But that bass, for some reason too, is another one. It just nothing. People have Dolphins, and they're like, "Why does your Dolphin sound like that?" And I'm like, I don't know. It's just the way the bass is made. And it's 2000. So somebody was saying you guys had a stock of wood from like the 90s to like about 2000. They think I got that stock of wood on that particular bass, which could be, I don't know. But it's special too. So very balanced sounding bass. And it's unique. Like no other bass looks like it. So most people were like, even when I started playing Warwick back in the 90s in rock music, nobody was playing Warwicks. I was the only guy that was playing Warwicks. It was me, Peanut, and Norwood from Fishbone. Stuart Zinder was playing them back then. And I think one of the guys, so I think it's Mint Condition was playing the Dolphin. I don't know if you know who Mint Condition is. They're a funk band from, I can't remember, somewhere back east, but I saw it. I was like, what bass is that? And it was a Warwick. And I said, that looks pretty amazing. I've never seen that body style before. And I got one. I've had it ever since. I have a bass that's, it's black. It's a streamer, and it's got lights on the frets, on the outside of the frets. And it's got a dragon up the neck. So they did a pearl inlay dragon. Beautiful bass. And that's unique too. Most people, when they see that, it's got blue lights in it, and the bass is black, so it just looks kind of cool. But that's one thing I've always loved about Warwick, that you can really customize your basses if you want to. If you want to like really get crazy, you can. You know, paint everything. But for some reason, I like the look of the wood basses. I'm a purist when it comes to just the dark brown wood looking basses. I don't really like colors on my basses, my instruments, that much. And Warwick is the one who messed that up for me. So because I got a Warwick bass and I love the way it looks with the wood, every other bass I see is like, I want a wood colored bass. But anyway, that's just me. Thank you very much, man. It was awesome.
Yeah.
That was a good ending anyway.
It was.
You asked me.